You want to be on the video? Come here. Everyone say hi to Kuzan. This is my Murphy's patternless leopard gecko. And he's joining me today because we're talking about what to expect when you own a leopard gecko. What is up, guys? It is the Turtle Girl. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. So whether you are thinking about getting a leopard gecko, or perhaps you've already owned a leopard gecko for a brief period of time, basically what I want to go over in this video is what you can expect when you own a leopard gecko. Things that have to do with like feeding and activity levels, handling, that sort of stuff. So there should be at least like something in here that you didn't know about leopard geckos. So with that, let's get started. The first thing is that leopard geckos need to eat live bugs. They are completely insectivores. So you need to expect that you are going to have to feed them live bugs, and that usually means also keeping live bugs to some extent. Whether that be crickets from the store or making your own dubia roach colony, you have to be able to offer them live prey items to eat. That's the way that they're going to thrive. You can't just feed them canned insects or things like that. They really lose their nutrition if they're freeze-dried or whatever. So you need to be feeding them live bugs. A lot of the nutrition they get from gut loading, so whatever your insects are eating, it's also going into your lizard. Another part of feeding is that you need to be supplementing their diet with calcium and multivitamins. There's other videos on YouTube about this, so I'm not going to go into depth. But I will say that when you offer them calcium, a lot of times owners will recommend having a small bowl of calcium inside their tank and then also dusting the insects. So this is something you can do, but one thing to keep in mind is that if your gecko starts developing like squishy packets behind their armpits, that means that they actually might have too much calcium. It's almost like a little, I don't know, like a fat roll that will show up right behind their front arms. That's how you know your gecko is getting a little bit too much calcium, and you can start either cutting back on the dustings or removing that calcium bowl. That's actually a little tip I learned from Go Herping, so shout out to him. But now you know. If you have a gecko and he has squishy armpits, it's probably because they're getting too much calcium. Another thing about leopard geckos is that they always use the bathroom in the same spot. Like, I kid you not, I've had Kuzan for, I think, almost a year and a half, maybe even 2 years now. I'd have to go back and look. But he always poops in this one corner in this side of the tank. So they go to the bathroom in the same spot every time, which makes cleaning a breeze, and that's one thing to know about them. Now, as far as activity goes, I think something that every gecko owner should know is that because leopard geckos are crepuscular, active during dawn and dusk, they aren't always the most ideal display pet. What I mean by this is that throughout the actual daytime, when you might be awake and checking in on them, they might just be sleeping or hiding in their hide. You're not necessarily going to see them all over the tank. So if you want a pet that you are going to look at a whole lot, leopard geckos may not be something for you unless you're looking at them during dawn and dusk. And when they're hunting, they can get pretty active. But it is good to know that they're not going to be like a fish or a turtle and swimming around their tank all the time. I wonder if, like, I don't know, does this look uncomfortable? I promise it's not uncomfortable. I'm just, like, building my arm strength with my little gecko weight over here. Speaking of handling, although leopard geckos can be pretty tame, as you can see, Kuzan is just kind of chilling, but not all leopard geckos are super chill, particularly if they're younger. So if you're looking for a pet that you're going to be able to handle and cuddle with, reptiles in general just like don't have the same demeanor as a small domesticated mammal, for instance, or like a dog. And sometimes they can just be a little more skittish in general. While I think that leopard geckos are definitely one of the best pet reptiles for handling, at least in my limited experience, just keep in mind that if you are going to get a leopard gecko, it's not something that you're going to be able to hold 24/7. One tip I do have for handling, though, is do it consistently and relatively frequently. What I mean by that is the more consistently and the more often that you handle your gecko, the more calm their temperament tends to be. So if you're a leopard gecko owner, do your best to consistently take them out, maybe once or twice a week. It's not like it has to be every day or anything, but taking them out consistently can get them used to you and improve your experience when handling your leopard gecko. Okay, moving on. The next thing that you should expect about leopard geckos is that they actually shed their skin. Now, most reptiles do this. This is a normal part of growing and having healthy skin. Now, typically they'll do this at night, and you'll know that they're about to shed because their colors will get quite a bit duller. It's a good idea to spray their humid hide so that they have that humidity, which will also help in the shedding process. But the interesting thing is that you won't actually find this shed in the morning. They actually eat this skin because it has all kinds of nutrients and stuff for them. I mean, why waste it, right? It can make a tasty snack, I guess. I don't know. But do know that leopard geckos will eat their shed, so don't expect to find it as you would with maybe a snake or even shed turtle scoots. But with leopard geckos, they shed their skin and then they eat it. So you may never even know when your leopard gecko is shedding. It might just happen overnight. Another good thing to know about leopard gecko ownership is that, for the most part, if you have an adult leopard gecko, they can go several days without food. Honestly, most leopard geckos, you're only feeding them 2 or 3 times per week. So if you have to leave for a weekend or something like that, if you feed them right before you leave and as soon as you get back, they should be just fine. They might not even notice that you're gone. Shouldn't be a problem to leave your leopard gecko behind so long as they have access to fresh water. And this is a super obvious one that I think pretty much everyone should know, but I'm going to include it here anyway, just in case you don't. And that is that leopard geckos can actually drop their tail. So they can lose this and then completely regrow it back. This is something that developed as a defense mechanism, but they can actually do this without any harm to the gecko. So I mean, it's not like necessarily you should expect this, but it is good knowledge to know. So those are some things to expect when you own a leopard gecko. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know you guys have been asking for a care video for a super long time. I promise that'll come sometime in the future. Leave a thumbs up if that's something you're excited for. And also if you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next Friday. Have a totally awesome day. Bye! This gecko is literally so much fun. Also, for those of you who ask, yes, Kuzan is a reference to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Kuzan was actually Aang's friend, and I would just like to also say, oh, hold on. Here's Appa. Here's Appa, and here's Kuzan. Aren't they cute? Could be like friends. Appa, yip yip! Woo!